Hello, this is Lloyd Williams. I want to welcome you to a quick introduction and overview of the Worldview by Relative Strength tool and the best practices around using this in your trading and your investment process. As we begin, let's first look at why relative strength is vital. The markets are constantly searching for value. Investors and traders want to capture that value. Fundamental analysis helps identify that value. Relative strength allows us to reduce all the fundamental analysis down to that which is most important, the actual identification of the strength inside specific investment instruments. Most importantly, we're interested in the instrument's relationship to other alternative choices, other investments, other asset classes, other sectors or securities. We want to keep our money invested in the strongest, most offensive position we can. Therefore, strong relative strength is our most important tool. The markets are constantly searching for that value. And as investors, we want to capture it. By using relative strength, we're able to identify not only the changes in that strength, but when it becomes essential for us to focus on it as a place to invest our money. Because as we know, as we look at the purpose of fundamental analysis, it's to determine what to buy, not when to buy it or how to buy it, but what to buy, the actual item, what has value. Graham and Dodd, in their book Security Analysis, which is the Bible of fundamental analysis, showed multiple tools trying to identify the levels of value in a specific security, mostly for the important purpose of purchasing that company in a significant way. Today, with the derivative-based system that we're in, we don't tend to hold securities for long periods of time because they're changing constantly in value. Security analysis become such a time-consuming process, and it identifies too many choices. With four major asset classes, stocks, bonds, commodity, and currencies, that are constantly moving in their relationship to each other, one being strong, one weakening, and another one strengthening up, we need a simple tool that identifies the best value, the best place to place our funds and our investment monies. Now, the Worldview is a tool in a single sheet that allows us to assess all the different asset classes, stocks and the equity markets, bonds and the fixed income markets, commodities, currencies, and the international markets, all in one place. We're able to shorten our analysis time and drill down quickly into the actual area where we need to focus our purchase. We're able to look not only at the major asset classes, but we can look at the specific subsectors of those asset classes. In each of the categories, we have both an index and the sectors inside that asset class itself. Some of you may focus exclusively on the index level, keeping your process very simple with very few choices. Others of you may want to focus more in depth to strengthen your focus and to gain better returns by drilling down to the strongest of the sectors within the asset class or index itself. The Worldview also has a Canadian specific section. These three red areas over on the right are all specifically Canadian ETFs and Canadian dollar denominated ETFs. We also have up in the upper left-hand corner, the A team, the strongest of the different asset classes and the strongest of the sectors. So if you wanted just a pick list of the best, that's where you would look first and foremost. Now, as I mentioned earlier, each listing shows both the name of the ETF, the symbol for the ETF, and then gives a ranking of that ETF relative to the comparison of the S&P 500 with SPY. So the bright green is when it's in the top third above the index. When it's a B, it's in the middle third. And then when it's a C, it's in the lower third above the market itself. D, E, and F are the same breakdowns of a third below, third of top, middle, and bottom below, giving us a 6-layer comparison of how well this specific security is relative to the overall market. We're about to announce an addition of a new column here to the right, which will be its historical location in this value grid. So you can see as a C moves up to B and then the B moves up to A, you can see that movement up and down as the securities themselves, the individual subsectors and sectors, move relative to the index, giving you the ability to buy in earlier as something is beginning to strengthen rather than waiting for it to get all the way to the top before it becomes strong. The world view from a best practice standpoint is a very simple process. You start off looking at the 4 different asset classes and you identify where is the strength. And you can very quickly see all the green, was more green down here in the commodities area. And at this point in time, commodities was the number 1 asset class, equities was the number 2. We had the fixed income was number 3, and currencies were number 4. Now, once you've identified the ranking order, you can now determine what level of concentration, whether you're going to put all your money in the strongest asset class, or maybe divide it among multiple asset classes with a higher concentration where the strength is and lesser concentrations as you go down the list to lower rankings. The second part of the best practice is the use of both indexes and sectors in making your determination. Every one of these areas allow you to choose either a specific index that represents the overall asset class or the overall sector of the marketplace, and then also list the strongest sectors and subsectors for you to drill down deeper if you want to that heavier concentration. Now, you're able to decide that in your own investment policy, whether you want to focus exclusively on just the asset classes or whether you want to get greater or lesser concentration by either drilling down into the sectors or subsectors themselves. The third part is sector rotation. We know that asset classes change in value. For a period of time, equities are the strongest asset class, and then commodities take over, and sometimes fixed income strong. The ability to move from sector rotation, from sector to sector, asset class to asset class, allows you to keep your portfolio constantly in the strongest of the asset classes and the strongest of the sectors. We also know that the market cycle itself, the economic cycle, follows a certain order, and certain sectors of the marketplace perform better in the early recovery, full recovery, or late recovery period, and then during recession periods. Because the market, as the economy itself moves around through the different economic cycle, we will see in the world view where those underlying sectors of the economy are able to outperform, and you're able to take advantage of that economic cycle to the benefit of your stakeholders. The world view is basically a tool to identify the sectors that are rotating in and out of favor. Again, fundamental analysis purpose is to identify what to buy. By knowing what is coming in favor and then moving out of favor, you're able to better position yourself of when to enter and when to exit. Applying the worldview with your Trade Like a Pro tools of price action, you're able to maximize both your fundamental side of what to buy and then your technical analysis side of when to enter, when to exit, and how to manage and maintain the position. One of the important parts of a sector or asset rotation model is identifying the level of concentration you're going to use in the four major asset classes. Are you going to buy a little of all four, or concentrate more in the top two or the single top asset class itself? All of these, you determine that, as we've talked about in the Trade Like a Pro course and shown examples of how to do that. The other advantage of this is the worldview lets you identify a mixture of sectors and indexes. You don't have to buy just indexes or just sectors. You can combine that. And in the areas where there's the greatest strength, say that stocks are number one and commodities are number two, you may want to drill down into those specific sectors of those areas that are the strongest. And then in the areas that are not that attractive or not that strong, place a small position in just an overall index of that asset class. So you participate with it, but it's just a holding pattern until it moves up in greater strength, where you can then drill down into the specific bonds or specific currencies to gain better returns. The advantage, as we've seen, why professionals don't use a fixed asset mix and use an asset rotation model is they're able to keep their clients' assets always in the strongest of the assets and sectors in the marketplace. The worldview comes out weekly as a simple one-sheet tool. It replaces all your other fundamental analysis that you need to do because it drills down specifically into what to actually buy. Then, using this tool along with your Trade Like a Pro tools of technical analysis and the ability to identify when to enter and when to exit just in time, you now have a complete system. This one tool takes care of the overall initial fundamental analysis, and then your Trade Like a Pro price action tools allow you to take care of the process of analyzing the market for knowing when to enter and when to exit. This one sheet will simplify your investment process and give you the information you need when it is time to change. Now, the tool is available in two fashions. One, for those of you who are investment professionals, it is bundled with the Sherman sheets for those of you who've either, my clients, coaching clients, attended things, or have come in through this route here, through one of the courses, the Trade Like a Pro course or something. You have the ability to purchase the Sherman sheet and the worldview. And the Sherman sheet is valuable for those of you who are professionals, but it's only available for professionals. It gives you model portfolios that you can use. It allows you to better explain what you're doing with your clients, and some tools to help you better maximize and drill down deeper into each specific ETF. The Sherman sheet allows you to take and see all the ETFs in each of the asset classes, whereas the worldview focuses on those strongest of the ETFs, those that have the greatest amount of liquidity and everything else, so that you can purchase them with some confidence that there's plenty of liquidity in these and those and everything else. But if you want to get to see all the ETFs that are available, then the Sherman sheet, for those of you who are professionals, will allow you to drill down or at least get more information about them as you'd like to. Now, for those of you who are individual investors or who are managing your own personal assets or your family assets, the worldview is available for you for the first time for you to have access to it. Though you can't get access to the Sherman sheet, you do have access to the worldview, which allows you to do all your fundamental analysis right there with that one sheet, determining where you want to focus your attention, and then using the Trade Like a Pro tools to help you enter and exit. So with each pricing, if you're a professional, you'd want to get the Sherman sheet and the worldview, because that gives you both the one sheet and then the professional data necessary to analyze the securities themselves. For those of you who are individuals or running family portfolios and the like, you can now get access to the worldview and do the exact same fundamental analysis seeing the changes in the asset class, now knowing where to focus your time and attention from both an asset class level and sector level, and even more importantly, from a subsector level. The advantage you have with the worldview is in one simple sheet. You have the asset classes, the sectors, you have the countries, whether you want to buy the currency or buy the country asset class. You have the Canadian focused securities for those of you in Canada on one sheet each week coming to you. You have all the information that you need to move forward. As professional, with the Sherman sheet and the worldview, you get your worldview each week as an overview, and you get the daily Sherman sheet analysis of the specific ETFs that you can drill down into in a much deeper fashion. So something for each of you. If you're interested in subscribing to each of these, please email Deborah in the email below, and she'll be happy to get you set up with the specific one. If you're professional, I recommend both. If you're an individual investor or family asset manager, then the worldview by Relative Strength alone is a tool that you need. Thank you very much. I hope you found this valuable.